For the past 8 years, I have been shopping Kroger and tracking their discontinuation patterns before most people even notice the empty shelf tags. While everyone is panic buying when items are already gone, I quietly watch the supplier codes, the markdown schedules, and the internal memos that tell me what is about to vanish. Number 14 is sitting in your local Kroger right now for under $5. And when I tell you what it is, you are going to sprint to the store. The problem is that when everyone reads the same blogs and buys the same stuff, that is exactly what disappears first. Back in early 2020, I watched toilet paper get cleared in 3 hours. But the industrial paper towels in the janitorial aisle? Still fully stocked 2 weeks later. Nobody thinks to look sideways. This March, Kroger is discontinuing 21 items that most people do not even know are on the chopping block. Some are because of supplier issues, while some are because of profit margin cuts. Some are because corporate decided to replace them with private label garbage that costs more and delivers less. I am going to walk you through every single one, tell you exactly why it matters, and show you what to grab instead before the shelf space gets filled with something you do not want. And if you want to stay ahead of these supply chain games, go ahead and subscribe right now, because I release this kind of insider information every single week before it hits the mainstream prepper channels. Let's start with the first one, and this is going to sound boring, but it is absolute gold. Kroger is discontinuing their Simple Truth organic coconut oil in the 64-ounce tub. Before you think this is just another cooking oil, hear me out. Coconut oil has a shelf life of 2 to 3 years unopened, and even longer if you store it right. So it does not go rancid like vegetable oil. It does not need refrigeration. You can cook with it, bake with it, use it on your skin, use it as a base for homemade soap. And in a pinch, you can even burn it as an emergency candle with a wick. Last winter, during a power outage that lasted 4 days, I used coconut oil for everything. I cooked eggs in it on a camp stove. I used it as lip balm because the heat was out and everyone's skin was cracking. And I even mixed it with sugar to scrub my hands after handling firewood. That one jar did the work of 6 different products. Here is what I do. I buy 3 or 4 of these 64-ounce tubs every couple of months and rotate them. The price right now is sitting at around $12 to $14, depending on your region. Compare that to the tiny 14-ounce jars of the same stuff at Whole Foods for $10. Well, the reason this survives a shortage is because most people do not think of coconut oil as a survival item. They think of it as a trendy health food. When the panic hits, they are grabbing Crisco and vegetable oil. Coconut oil sits untouched. But now that Kroger is discontinuing this size, you are going to see it replaced with smaller, more expensive jars. Stock up now while the big tubs are still available. Look, grocery prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with. And Kroger is not making it easier by cutting the exact items that give you the most value per dollar. I have done the math for you and put together a free resource that lists the exact 15 pantry staples you must keep, which you can buy from any store. It can feed your family for 2 weeks and costs less than a single takeout order. You can grab it for free at the link in the description, so you can stop worrying about what to stock and start actually prepping with a plan that works. On number 2 is their private selection maple syrup in the 32-ounce glass bottle. This one stings because real maple syrup is getting harder to find at a decent price. Kroger is replacing this with a smaller bottle and jacking up the price per ounce by almost 30%. Real maple syrup is not just for pancakes. It is a calorie-dense, shelf-stable sweetener that lasts indefinitely if stored properly. I have jars in my pantry from 4 years ago. Still perfect. Well, the reason preppers miss this is because they default to white sugar or honey. But maple syrup has minerals that white sugar does not. It has manganese, zinc, and antioxidants. And here is the kicker. It is one of the few natural sweeteners that does not crystallize into a brick if you store it long term. I use it in coffee, in oatmeal, as a glaze for roasted vegetables, and even as a base for homemade barbecue sauce. But right now, these 32-ounce bottles are on clearance at some locations for around $9. Compare that to the organic brands at the fancy stores that charge $15 for 12 ounces. The reason this stays in stock during a crisis is because most people think of it as a luxury. They are not fighting over maple syrup when they are fighting over bread and milk. Grab 2 or 3 bottles now before they are gone for good. Number 3 is going to surprise you. As Kroger is discontinuing their Heritage Farm chicken thighs in the 5-pound family pack. This is a massive problem because chicken thighs are the most versatile, affordable, and forgiving cut of meat you can buy. They do not dry out like breasts. They have more fat, which means more flavor and more calories. You can roast them, grill them, slow cook them, pressure cook them, or even can them if you know what you are doing. A guy who manages distribution for a major poultry supplier, at 20 years in the business, told me that thighs are being cut from major retailers because breasts have better profit margins. Stores make more money per pound on breasts, even though thighs are what professional chefs actually use. Right now, these 5-pound packs are sitting at around $7 to $9 depending on sales. That is less than $2 a pound for bone-in, skin-on thighs. Compare that to the individually wrapped organic breasts that run $5 to $7 per pound. Now, here's what I do. I buy 3 or 4 packs when they are on sale, portion them into freezer bags, and vacuum seal them. They last 6 months easy in a regular freezer, longer in a deep freeze. During the 2020 meat shortages, I watched the chicken breast section get completely wiped out, while the thigh section still had stock. Most people do not know how to cook thighs, so they avoid them. That is your advantage. Stock your freezer now before this family pack disappears. Well, number 4 sounds boring, but it is essential. Kroger is discontinuing their store brand iodized sea salt in the 4-pound box. You are probably thinking salt is salt. Why does this matter? Here is why. Iodized salt is one of the few ways most people get iodine in their diet. Your thyroid needs iodine to function. Without it, you get brain fog, fatigue, weight gain, and in extreme cases, goiter. Most fancy sea salts and Himalayan salts do not have iodine. They look pretty, they cost more, but they do not deliver what your body actually needs. I keep a 4-pound box in my pantry, 1 in my emergency kit, and 1 in my car. Salt does not expire. It lasts longer than you or I will be alive. I use it for cooking, for preserving food, for making rehydration drinks, and even for cleaning cast iron. A 4-pound box costs about $3. Compare that to the tiny boutique salt jars that cost $8 for 8 ounces. The reason this survives a shortage is because most preppers are buying the trendy salts or the big commercial bags for water softeners. The humble iodized box sits ignored. Grab 2 or 3 boxes now before they replace it with some overpriced pink nonsense that does not do the same job. Number 5 is their store brand peanut butter in the 40-ounce jar. This is not the natural kind that separates. This is the hydrogenated shelf-stable, lasts forever kind. Well, before you tell me hydrogenated oils are bad, listen. In a survival situation, calorie density beats clean eating every single time. 1 tablespoon of peanut butter has about 90 calories, 7 grams of fat, and 4 grams of protein. It does not need refrigeration even after you open it. It does not spoil. You can eat it straight, mix it into oatmeal, spread it on crackers, or thin it out with water to make a sauce. Last summer during a week-long camping trip, And I brought 2 jars of this stuff, and it kept my family fed when everything else ran out. The kids ate it on bread. I mixed it with honey and made energy balls. My wife used it to thicken a soup. That 1 jar did the work of an entire cooler of perishable food. Right now, these 40-ounce jars are around $5 to $6. Compare that to the natural brands that cost $9 for 16 ounces and go rancid in 3 months. Oh, the reason this stays in stock is because health-conscious people avoid hydrogenated oils, which means the preppers who know better get first pick. Kroger is discontinuing this size and replacing it with smaller jars at a worse price per ounce. Stock up now. Number 6 is their canned tomato paste in the 12-ounce can. This one is frustrating because tomato paste is a flavor and nutrition powerhouse that most people underestimate. It is concentrated tomatoes, which means concentrated lycopene, vitamin C, and potassium. You can use it to thicken sauces, make soup, add depth to chili, or even mix it with water to make a quick tomato sauce. I have cans in my pantry from 3 years ago. Still good. The acid in tomatoes acts as a natural preservative. Here is what nobody talks about. Tomato paste is one of the cheapest ways to add umami to your food. Umami is that savory, satisfying flavor that makes food taste rich. A tablespoon of tomato paste in your rice, your beans, or your stew completely changes the game. Right now, these 12-ounce cans are sitting at around $1.50. Compare that to the tomato powder that preppers pay $15 for. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people grab diced tomatoes or sauce, not paste. They do not know how to use it. That is your edge. Grab a flat of these cans before Kroger replaces them with the tiny 6-ounce cans that cost the same price. Number 7 is the one I have been teasing, and it is sitting in your Kroger right now for under $5. Kroger is discontinuing their store brand Quick Oats in the 42-ounce canister. Not the instant packets. Not the steel-cut oats. The Quick Oats in the big canister. This is one of the most underrated survival foods on the planet. Oats are shelf-stable for years if kept dry. They are packed with fiber, protein, and slow-burning carbs. You can eat them hot, eat them cold, and grind them into flour, use them as a binder in meatloaf, or even make oat milk if dairy is not available. Last winter, during a 2-week power outage, I lived on oats. I cooked them on a camp stove with water and a pinch of salt. I added peanut butter for fat. I added honey for sweetness. I added raisins for variety. That one canister fed me breakfast for 10 days straight. Here is what I do. I buy 4 or 5 canisters at a time and store them in a cool, dry place. They last 2 to 3 years easy, longer if you vacuum seal them. Right now, these 42-ounce canisters are about $4 to $5. Compare that to the instant oat packets that cost $6 for a box of 10 servings. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people think oats are boring. They want the flavored packets or the trendy overnight oats in jars. Plain, quick oats sit untouched. You can stock your pantry now before Kroger cuts this size and replaces it with single-serve garbage that costs 3 times as much. Number 8 is their store brand evaporated milk in the 12-ounce can. This is one of those items that people forget exists until they need it, and it is gone. Evaporated milk is shelf-stable for years. It is concentrated milk, which means more calories, more calcium, and more protein per ounce than regular milk. You can use it in coffee, in soups, in baking, or even drink it straight if you dilute it with water. I have cans in my pantry from 2 years ago. Still perfect. Here is the insight nobody knows. Evaporated milk is one of the few shelf-stable dairy products that actually tastes like real milk when you reconstitute it. Powdered milk tastes like sadness. Shelf-stable cartons have a weird aftertaste. Evaporated milk When you add equal parts water, tastes like the real thing. Now, right now, these 12-ounce cans are sitting at around $1.25. Compare that to the shelf-stable milk cartons that cost $4 for a quart. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people do not know it exists. They are grabbing almond milk or fighting over the last gallon of regular milk. Evaporated milk sits quietly on the baking aisle. Grab a case of 12 cans now before Kroger discontinues it for good. Number 9 is their private selection dark chocolate chips in the 20-ounce bag. Before you tell me chocolate is not a survival food, let me stop you. Chocolate is calorie-dense, shelf-stable, and psychologically essential. When everything is terrible, a handful of chocolate chips can keep you sane. Dark chocolate has antioxidants, magnesium, and iron. It can give you a quick energy boost without the crash of sugar. I keep a bag in my emergency kit, one in my pantry, and one in my car. And last year, during a camping trip that went sideways, those chocolate chips were the only thing that kept my kids from losing their minds. I melted them into oatmeal. I mixed them with peanut butter. I let the kids eat them straight when morale was low. That one bag did more for our mental state than any freeze-dried meal could have. Right now, these 20-ounce bags are about $6 to $7. Compare that to the single-serve candy bars that cost $2 each. And here's what I do. I buy 2 or 3 bags and store them in a cool, dark place. They last a year easy, longer if you keep them sealed. The reason this survives a shortage is because most preppers think of food as fuel, not as comfort. They stock beans and rice and forget that food monotony causes decision fatigue. Boring food makes you stupid when you need to be smart most. Stock up on these chocolate chips now before Kroger replaces them with a smaller, more expensive bag. Number 10 is their canned chunk chicken breast in the 12.5-ounce can. This is not rotisserie chicken. This is fully cooked, shelf-stable, pull-tab canned chicken that lasts 3 to 5 years. You can eat it straight out of the can, mix it into pasta, throw it into a salad, or use it to make chicken salad sandwiches. I have cans in my pantry from 4 years ago. Opened one last month. Tasted fine. Here is what nobody talks about. Canned chicken is one of the easiest ways to add protein to your meals without needing refrigeration or cooking equipment. You do not need to heat it. You do not need to season it. You crack the can and you have protein. Right now, these cans are sitting at around $2.50. Compare that to the freeze-dried chicken that preppers pay $20 for. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people think canned chicken is gross. Most they have never tried it, or they tried it once 20 years ago and decided it was bad. Meanwhile, preppers who actually test their food know this stuff is solid. Grab a case of 12 cans now before Kroger discontinues it and replaces it with some boutique organic version that costs twice as much. Number 11 is going to sound weird, but stay with me. Kroger is discontinuing their store-brand cornmeal in the 5-pound bag. Cornmeal is dirt cheap, lasts forever, and is one of the most versatile ingredients you can stock. You can make cornbread, tortillas, polenta, breading for fried food, or even use it as a thickener for soups. I have bags in my pantry from 3 years ago. Still good. Here's the insight. Cornmeal is naturally gluten-free, which means it is one of the few shelf-stable carbs that people with celiac disease can actually eat. If someone in your family cannot have wheat, cornmeal is your backup plan. Right now, these 5-pound bags are about $3. Compare that to the gluten-free flour blends that cost $9 for 2 pounds. Here is what I do. I buy 2 or 3 bags at a time and store them in airtight containers. They last 2 to 3 years easy, longer if you freeze them. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people do not know how to cook with cornmeal. They think it is just for cornbread. They do not know you can make tortillas, fry it into mush, or use it as a base for dozens of recipes. That ignorance is your advantage. Stock up now. Number 12 is their store brand chili beans in the 15-ounce can. This is not just pinto beans. This is beans with chili seasoning already mixed in. You crack the can, heat it up, and you have a meal. I keep a case of these in my pantry at all times. Last year during a power outage, I heated these on a camp stove and fed my family for 2 days straight. You can eat them as is. Pour them over rice, use them as a base for chili, or even mash them up and use them as a dip. Right now, these cans are sitting at around $1. Compare that to the freeze-dried chili that costs $8 a pouch. Here is what nobody talks about. Beans are one of the most nutrient-dense, shelf-stable foods you can buy. They have protein, fiber, iron, and complex carbs. They keep you full. They keep you regular. They give you energy without the crash. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people grab the plain beans and forget about the seasoned versions. These chili beans sit untouched while the pinto beans get cleared out. Grab a case now before Kroger cuts them from the lineup. Number 13 is their store brand applesauce in the 48-ounce jar. Not the individual cups, the big jar. Applesauce is one of those quiet survival foods that nobody thinks about. It is shelf-stable for years. Now, it does not need refrigeration even after you open it, if you eat it within a few days. You can eat it as is. Use it as a substitute for oil in baking. Mix it into oatmeal. Or even use it to sweeten plain yogurt. I have jars in my pantry from 2 years ago. Still perfect. Here is the insight. Applesauce is one of the few shelf-stable sources of fruit that actually tastes good. Canned peaches get mushy. Canned pears are hit or miss. Applesauce is consistent. Well, right now, these 48-ounce jars are about $3 to $4. Compare that to the individual cups that cost $6 for a pack of 6. Here is what I do, Wes. I buy 3 or 4 jars at a time and rotate them. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people think of applesauce as a kid food. They grab fresh fruit or frozen fruit and ignore the jars. Stock your pantry now before Kroger replaces this size with smaller, more expensive jars. Number 14 is the one I mentioned at the beginning, and it is a game changer. Kroger is discontinuing their store brand vegetable bouillon cubes in the 3.2-ounce jar. These little cubes are pure magic. Each cube makes a cup of broth. You can use them to flavor rice, make soup, add depth to beans, or even dissolve one in hot water and drink it as a savory snack. I have jars in my pantry that are 3 years old, still perfect. Here is what nobody talks about. Bouillon cubes are one of the most calorie-efficient ways to add flavor to bland food. When you are eating rice and beans for the 10th day in a row, a bouillon cube makes it edible. It makes it satisfying. Right now, these jars are sitting at around $2. Compare that to the organic broth boxes that cost $4 for a quart. Here is what I do. I keep a jar in my pantry, one in my car emergency kit, and one in my camping gear. While the reason this survives a shortage is because most people buy liquid broth in boxes or cans. They do not think about the cubes. The cubes take up less space, last longer, and give you more control over the strength of the flavor. Stock up now before Kroger cuts them. Number 15 is their store brand popcorn kernels in the 2-pound bag. Popcorn is one of the cheapest, most shelf-stable snacks you can buy. It lasts indefinitely if kept dry. You can pop it on the stove, in the microwave, or even over a campfire. A 2-pound bag makes about 30 servings. Right now, these bags are sitting at around $2. Compare that to the microwave popcorn that costs $5 for a box of 6 bags. Here's the insight. Popcorn is a whole grain. It has fiber. It keeps you full. And if you pop it plain and add your own seasoning, it is actually one of the healthiest snacks you can eat. I keep 2 or 3 bags in my pantry at all times. Last year during a movie night power outage, and I popped corn on a camp stove, and my kids thought it was the coolest thing ever. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people grab chips or pretzels. They forget about popcorn kernels. Stock up now. Number 16 is their canned green beans in the 14.5-ounce can. Canned vegetables get a bad reputation, but green beans hold up better than most. They do not get as mushy as peas or corn. You can eat them hot, eat them cold, or even puree them into soup. I have cans in my pantry from 3 years ago. Still good. Right now, these cans are sitting at around 70 cents. Compare that to the frozen green beans that take up freezer space and cost $2 a bag. Here is what I do. I buy a case of 12 cans and rotate them every year. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people grab fresh or frozen vegetables. Canned vegetables sit untouched until the panic hits. By then, it is too late. Stock your pantry now. Well, number 17 is their store-brand instant coffee in the 8-ounce jar. Before you tell me instant coffee is gross, hear me out. In a survival situation, caffeine is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Caffeine keeps you alert. It keeps you functional. It keeps you from getting a withdrawal headache when your body is already stressed. Instant coffee does not need a coffee maker. You do not need filters. You just need hot water. Right now, these 8-ounce jars are about $5. We'll compare that to the freeze-dried coffee that costs $12. I keep a jar in my pantry and one in my emergency kit. The reason this survives a shortage is because coffee snobs refuse to drink instant. That is your advantage. Stock up now. Number 18 is their store brand honey in the 24-ounce squeeze bottle. Honey lasts forever. Literally forever. Archaeologists have found honey in ancient tombs that is still edible. It does not spoil. It does not need refrigeration. But you can use it as a sweetener, as a cough suppressant, as a wound dressing, or even as an energy boost. Right now, these squeeze bottles are about $6 to $7. Compare that to the raw organic honey that costs $15 for 12 ounces. I keep 2 bottles in my pantry at all times. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people think honey is just for tea. They do not know you can use it for dozens of things. Stock up now before Kroger replaces this size with smaller bottles. Number 19 is their store brand raisins in the 20-ounce canister. Raisins are dried fruit, which means they are calorie-dense, shelf-stable, and packed with natural sugars for quick energy. You can eat them straight, mix them into oatmeal, throw them into trail mix, or even use them in baking. I have canisters in my pantry from 2 years ago. Still good. Right now, these canisters are about $4. But compare that to the individual boxes that cost $5 for a pack of 6. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people grab fresh fruit or candy. Raisins sit ignored. Stock up now. Number 20 is their store brand spaghetti in the 2-pound box. Pasta is one of the ultimate survival foods. It is cheap. It lasts forever if kept dry. It is easy to cook. You can pair it with anything. Right now, these 2-pound boxes are about $1.50. Compare that to the organic pasta that costs $4 for 12 ounces. I keep 5 or 6 boxes of thins in my pantry at all times. The reason this survives a shortage is because everyone grabs the name brands first. Store-brand pasta sits untouched. Stock up now. Number 21 is their store-brand white rice in the 10-pound bag. Rice is the foundation of survival food. It is cheap, calorie-dense, and lasts for years if stored properly. You can eat it as a side, as a main, or even make rice pudding for dessert. Right now, these 10-pound bags are about $6 to $7. Compare that to the instant rice that costs $5 for a pound. I keep 2 bags in my pantry and rotate them every year. The reason this survives a shortage is because most people grab the small bags or the instant rice. The big bags sit untouched. Stock up now before Kroger cuts them. While everyone else is fighting over the same tired name brands and trending organic items, you now know 21 items that are cheaper, easier to store, and will actually still be available when the next shortage hits. Drop a comment telling me which of these you are going to stock up on first. And next week I am revealing the 12 tools everyone thinks are essential, but are actually worthless in a real collapse scenario. Trust me, you do not want to miss that one.